Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Yeah, ginger. I will just go on.
Okay, so we rush to the newspaper review, take 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5 newspapers, and of course come to the conversation for today. Please stay with us.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
So we are starting with the Daily Trust newspaper. On the Daily Trust newspaper 2027, fresh debate over Tinubu's qualification. Bandits killed 8 family members, 4 others in Sokoto. Another major story says flood displaces families, destroys houses in Yobe. Away from the Daily Trust newspaper, we'll take a look at the Guardian newspaper. 10 insurance risk liquidation at 43 scale recapitalization hurdle. Another story here says Onoyeko Atiku Christian leaders Horewa tackle presidency. Atiku presidency bicker over economic performance, Nigerians reality. And then another story here from Daily Independent newspaper. Early recovery in manufacturing sector faces steep hurdles. 50 trillion naira financing gap threatens rebound of Nigeria's rail sector. Then the Vanguard. On the Vanguard newspaper, 10 trillion naira investments in 13 years fail to lift power supply. Another story here says Northern Christians, Senator Sani, other defend Catholic bishops. Dangote Sinona signed $800 million MOU to expand Itori cement plant capacity to 12 MTPA, and that's just about it. We're just trying to rush through the papers. On the Punch, abandoned projects. Federal government bars ministries from awarding unfounded contracts. And Power Tauso rocks Obi Kwankwaso campaign teams. Nigerian earns 24 trillion naira from crude exports in 6 months. And finally, on the Daily Sun, presidency Atiku fight over reforms. Ripples over Tinubu Catholic bishops meeting. Rather says Northern Christians back clerics, dismiss Boala's claims. They are not cheerleaders. Atiku tells presidency. Bishops should acknowledge gains made. Shehu Sani speaking there. Once you grab a copy of the Daily Sun newspaper, of course, other papers as well, you see the details of all of these to learn 1 or 2. Okay.
I think we have, because of time, we have our plate filled, but not before we remind you that any moment from now we'll be featuring Francis Duru, a veteran Nollywood actor, writer, author, presenter, broadcaster, who has over time had opportunity of analyzing a lot of things that has to do with the industry. So stay tuned as we go. Francis Duru, the The elaborate interview we had with him will show you just immediately after we take few of the trending issues. And most of the trending issues is talking about the Cardinal Onaiko and the presidency. Mark Ginger.
Well, I think they spoke the minds of the people. The interesting thing is the composition of this team. It represents Nigeria in everywhere, because the president cannot claim that this was tribally skewed, because about 19 bishops, they came from every part of the country, northern, southern, southeast, southwest, and every part of the country. So that's a reflection of Nigeria through federalism, So, and also talking about motive here, like the bishops said, they cannot replace the government, so they couldn't have been politically motivated. So, to me, it's a fair judgment, and they have the locus and the legitimacy to make the observations, because people from different parts of Nigeria congregated in that assembly, and they represent, the feelings of their people, and even the places that they operate as in a spiritual director. So I think they spoke the minds of Nigerians. It's unfortunate that the presidency habitually translates every kind of criticism as being politically motivated. It's quite unfortunate. The beauty of democracy is that people should be able to have their say. When dwarf or muffle the voice of the people, I don't know the kind of government that we are running. A government that is even very irritated by the criticisms or observations of religious leaders, who would they listen to? Bad.
I feel maybe the presidency were expecting cheerleaders. They thought they had another political campaign meetings where people will be hailing and be clapping.
I don't think the board is expected. I think they are used to. Because they cannot be expecting that the Catholic bishops, and of course we know the antecedents. Catholic bishops in Nigeria are known to be very expressive. They can be candid to any government, not just this government. It's been a consistent pattern.
And they are not known for verbosity,
pandering,
flippancy, and the Catholic Bishop Conference of Nigeria. Their meeting is even not regular. So whenever you see Catholic Bishop Conference of Nigeria meeting and someone encouraged to speak to authority, over time, they've always said things the way it is because of their position. You cannot face the congregation of hungry people and want to massage issues and tell them that Nigeria is, that even the bishops could have stood the podium and tell the congregation that they were born before hunger. They were there before hunger came. Is that what the presidency expected the people to go and tell them?
I like the way they tackled the issue of legitimacy of this government. The bishops, pointed out that the percentage of people who come out to vote has dropped drastically from 1999. In fact, this presidency was elected by 23% of registered voters. This casts a legitimacy shadow on the presidency. And, if they were speaking to a more reasonable set of people, then there should be a more robust effort in the coming election to improve on the legitimacy rating. Because if 23% of registered voters, not even the population, voted the presidency, then it's a minority rule. It's a minority rule. This government was not elected by Nigerians. It was elected by minority of Nigerians.
But you see the resilience of Nigerians. We have accepted things as it were. 3.5 years into it. What reminds me is what my father said. Say, who the gods want dead? They first make him mad or blind or deaf. Now, and they also still told me about the man, a king, who said, don't talk to me, don't talk. He said the man went to the backyard, and after messing up his clothes, he was going on the road to the market. And when people look at it, they say, hey, he said, don't tell him, he says, nobody tells him what to do, because if you do, he will come right on you, and then you start explaining. So, Leader Zonyagwanam is, I don't think, our president. President Mohamed Tinubu,
Well,
GCFR, is Ezonyabonam. I think that people working with him have not told him the truth. And I've said that here several times, that they shielded him and be telling him what he want to know. And it's getting late. And who among them, there's a name they put for Bola to come on national TV to talk down on the Bishops' Conference of Nigeria. You see the response the Northern Christians
I'm surprised you are the one mentioning Bola today.
No, I'm saying,
He
doesn't like to hear
words. For him, who is going to now? Because they say when the palm knot forms at the end of palm leaf, you look for the bird that has long. So who is going to stand? Is it Remo or Mokri? Is it Buala? Is it Onanuga that will defend the presidency? Because over time, these are people who have said things that demarcate the presidency. So
my major concern.
I do not agree that they have shielded the presidency, because judging by his own utterance, he said that people have been hungry in Nigeria before he was born. Meaning he knew that there was hunger and there is hunger. But he thinks it's not normal. I'm wondering, he was in the opposition in 2014. What again did they campaign against the then government? Was it not hunger? Was it not insecurity? The other remarkable thing is the NSA coming out to tell the bishops that insecurity has improved. His yardstick for saying this is that the Abuja-Kaduna road is now safe. I am sure that kidnappings happened while the bishops were having that exchange with him somewhere in Nigeria. Look at the rescue that happened. I mean, people are kidnapped on a daily basis. Yes, there was insecurity, but not on this scale. The scale of that, we wake up every day to the news of new persons being abducted in Nigeria. And they claim, I don't know where are they getting the statistics from, or where are they even getting the
I'm saying, if you go to visit even local government chairman, governor, which have participated in teams that go to visit such people, where I have not visited is Asoro. But I know to visit the president, there are people working on the sideline to shield the president, even prompting what his response is and all. Are they not aides? Where are they? They wait for, why are they reactive? So the presidency received the Bishops' Conference of Nigeria, and they sat with him, took pictures. They had a conference of discussion, and information were coming in. These people were talking back. The presidency had the retinue of people working with him, and they're responding. And you are telling me that the president, if this thing happen in other climate, that the president of such nation will respond the way our president. The people working with him are not packaging him well, because they will tell him over time this is how to handle this issue, and he will see the prompt, and he will be hearing it with all the gadgets he's wearing on what he should be responding to such critical issue. But for them to allow him respond to this, it means all, because he said the presidency. All are complicit, of everything.
That was not how they
when the house falls.
Let's go down, because there are many people that may be watching us that are concerned, thinking how what are we talking about. Some people may not be aware, but we're going to break it down to go to how everything started. That's what we'll be looking at, how it all started, what brought about this conversation, and why the social media is aflame, agog regarding this. So we'll go straight into that. Now, controversy has continued to trail comments by the Archbishop Emeritus of the Catholic Diocese of Abuja, Cardinal John Oneyekon, on the details of a closed-door meeting between President Bola Tinubu and the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria, CBCN. The CBCN, led by its president, Archbishop Matthew Ndagosa, met with President Tinubu on Thursday and raised concerns over insecurity, economic hardship, tertiary education, democracy, and the conduct of elections. Speaking on a television program, Onayekon, who was part of the delegation, said the bishops presented a carefully prepared position, a paper reflecting the collective views of the conference after extensive deliberations. He said the bishops expressed concern over worsening hardship, insecurity, and the state of democracy, but the president disagreed with the assessment, insisting that his administration was making progress. According to the cleric, the bishops had no political agenda, or personal interest, but were fulfilling their moral responsibility to speak on the suffering of Nigerians. Onayekon also suggested that those around the president might not be giving him an accurate picture of the realities facing ordinary Nigerians, adding that Tinubu prepared dissatisfied with the bishop's assessment of the country's economic situation. Of course, the bishop, in quotes, had a conversation with a television station, and of course, that's what we'll take a look at. Stay with us.
But if it is a waste of time, does it mean that it is useless? My own strong conviction is that it is useful, and we must find a way of reviving it, so that next time we are going anywhere, we will not be 3 of us. We will be at least 10 of us. I'm making that point clearly to General Abdulsalami, who is very much committed to this, but who unfortunately too has limits in his physical capacity. He was not able to travel with us to Osun State, for he was not too strong to travel. Yeah. But that means we must think about the future. The next year, 2 years, 5 years, will there still be a National Peace Committee?
Indeed.
But I must say, Osun State signing is very interesting. We first of all did what we normally do. As we landed in Osogbo, we went straight to the government house to pay respects, courtesy call, to the
governor.
And the governor right away fired the salvos. Told us very bluntly, I would not have gone for that charade of signing of a peace agreement if it was not because of the great respect I have for you people in the National Peace Committee. Because you come for it, I will be there. And he just gave us a reason why he felt that, it made it very blunt that the ruling party was interfering, not only interfering, but making it impossible for his party, or him and his party, to survive in what we're doing. With that in mind, we entered the hall.
However, the presidential aide Temitope Ajayi and Daniel Buwala, in separate statement on Saturday, described Onayekon's comment as inappropriate and a breach of confidentiality expected of such high-level engagement. Also, Buwala accused Onayekon of allowing politics to influence his comment. Buwala alleged that the Catholic Church has openly supported the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi during the 2023 general elections, arguing that the Cardinal's intervention should therefore be viewed within that context. This is where I actually have issues.
My major concern is whenever we have comments that does not sit well with the presidency, they don't look at the comments itself. They don't look at, okay, this is it. How can we solve this? What is the challenge? How do we go about it? They are always quick to attack the person that has the reaction.
Denial.
Yes, and it feels really bad.
Attack dog will, can you beat a child and say you shouldn't cry? For instance, that's why I said they don't have anybody that I see as credible to stand with cerebral.
Mr. Chris,
what can defend presidency, because there are things to tell Nigerians. But these people always chose the point of attack. And they think when you attack a Nigerian, they will just shield up and forget that they are hungry, that forget that we have insecurity, that forget that we have high cost of tariff living in Nigeria. Of course, some of them have even openly come out to say that these things does not exist.
Do you know what makes this the Catholic bishops team and their visit tick for me? What makes it tick for me? It's unusual for a religious group to visit the presidency, look him in the eye and say, throw away government sponsorship of pilgrimages. This is a religious organization, a major beneficiary of that program, asking the president to stop the program. I mean, nothing could be more altruistic. Nothing could be more honest. I think these people are patriotic Nigerians. Because a lot of people have called on the disbandment of this so-called pilgrimage commissions. According to the bishops, the establishments have become very corrupt, and that Nigerians have become more polarized than ever before. And they blame the politicians, and I agree with them. Even from the reactions of the presidency's team, because rather than responding to topical issues raised by this men of God, they went the political way, corroborating the accusation that it is politicians and politics that continues to polarize Nigeria.
My reaction, the way they reacted is, it is a constituency. Most of the times you think personal aid, media aid to the presidency, that should be people that are cerebral and intelligent and should know what the nation is feeling like. They measure the tempo, the temperature of everything before they respond to issues. And they keep pushing. I'm saying that, and of course I won't talk more again, but I would say that the team working with the presidency have keep on, in every of their action, their body language, demarcating President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And this is making it more. So what are they hoping on? Okay, take away the percentage you said is not representing all the Christians. Take away the percentage of Catholics among the Christians in Nigeria. Is those who are defending the presidency saying that you can deal with, if they can as well go to hell, and that they can still achieve what they want to achieve. If they're thinking about 2027 as where they're expecting people to go to the pool to vote this incumbent president for the second time, you are telling potential the mothers of mind who command opinion of Catholics. And my idea, when we were growing up, they say Catholics are the majority. So when they say they are Catholic, you mean they are majority is another way of saying people, a lot of people. Do they understand the number of people the Cali Bishop Conference of Nigeria control? And that's bring again to the fact that the people working with Asorok and this did not even appreciate Nigerians and their power to vote them in or out. They are interested in what the presidency is paying them now. They are feeling so comfortable. And they don't want about sustainability, that it's only when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu comes that second time that we will continue to enjoy whatever they're enjoying now. Because when you cut off the head, the ear goes off with it.
There are key areas that this Catholic bishop came up with in the interview. He said something about them being worried that the president is surrounded by sycophants, people that tell him what he wants to hear and not the honest truth. Exactly. And this is disturbing, because if Nigeria keeps complaining about the economy, complaining about insecurity, and we feel that the president is not concerned, then that means we're in deep trouble. And that should be looked into come 2027, number one. Number two, another thing he talked about that is concerning also is that he said that the presidency, that they are planning to win by all means. This is not coming from a place of hate or being partisan, but this is coming from a place of observation from what they noticed from their little meeting, the duration that they had with the presidency.
You know what's funny? I'm not interrupting you. But when the president of Nigeria said, I'm going to wrestle with the opponent, you know, that word, you know, when you analyze it, you see, if president is ready to wrestle with the opponent, who is going to be the umpire? Is it INEC? so, and then who is going to declare who wins? If the president comes openly to now see the next coming election as a wrestling, and that some words that have been quoted as saying nobody can tie me down, so he's now using those words he used in Warfront, those ideas.
I think we need to also look at, you know, the general demands of these people, to maybe to give an angle to the whole debate. You know, when I can summarize it under three, you know, categories. Say number one, make Nigerians safe, whatever it takes. Number two, fight corruption decisively, not selectively. Number three, stop polarization, stop rewarding cronies and vote bank areas with projects. Is this political or practical? Could there be a Nigerian that doesn't want these three things from the presidency? If you came to me as a president of this nation to make these three candidate requests, I would not perceive you as the enemy.
And then, but then perceiving them as either enemy or not has not removed anything. Who is not an enemy to truth?
The suspicion.
And mostly, naturally, people are, truth is bitter, they say. And no matter how bitter it is, it remains truth, no matter how you want to. So it's only immature minds that have put in place to defend what should be center of maturity, that are messing up with things they will deal with intelligence as attack dogs. Attack dogs are not the intelligent ones. They are just the ones you send to go and bark and make noise. But the ones who plan, if you use Animal Farm of George Orwell, where the people who are the brainstorm of the Animal Farm are the people who sit back and are planning. But the ones who did the attack are the fools. They just sent them to go on the wild goose chase. But this, I don't think that when the Catholic Conference the Bishop Catholic Conference of Nigeria comes to speak, that we should bring it down to Buhala responding, one other person responding to them, calling them names and all. That has confirmed the fact that, you know, what you call the negative psychology, where I give you an example. If you come back from work and your wife said, "Hi darling, why are you coming back late?" You blast, why you don't give me idea? You're suspended, I go somewhere. But nobody has suspended you, now you sabi. They only ask you, why did you come back late? So psychologically, it's only a guilty mind that want to use attack to close mind of people who are complaining about issues. That's my
time is up.
Okay, so time is up. We have to leave. My ginger.
Yeah, thank you so much, viewers. We've apologized. We can't stop apologizing for the late start, but all the same, it was thrilling. It's always good to have you here. And my name remains Mark Ginger. I'm here to ginger the house.
You have ginger the house enough. We also, my name is Christian Chibuzo Maduka. On behalf of the group, on behalf of the company, everything we have been apologizing. It will not happen again. God help us. And we thank you. It's always smaller, it's always tastes better. So whether the appetite, just wait for us tomorrow. Join us with the rest of the program. Chris?
Of course, tomorrow is going to be an amazing and exciting time to do this with you from 8 a.m. But coming up shortly is a conversation we had with Francis Doro. Of course, we all know Francis Doro. It's an exciting, educative, and informative interview, if you ask me. Stay with us on this very channel, Signature Television. My name is Christopher Lely. Stay with us.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
With more than 35 years of experience in the Nigerian movie industry, Chief Francis Doro remains a household name in the Nollywood industry. Born on July 27, 1967 in Cameroon to Nigerian parents who hailed from Imo State, he received both primary and secondary school education in Cameroon, but in order to obtain a BSc degree, he moved to Nigeria, where he applied to the University of Port Harcourt in Rivers State in the south region of Nigeria, and was accepted as an undergraduate to study theatre arts. In 1997, he obtained a BA degree in theatre arts. Doro debuted in the Nigerian movie industry in 1989 with a movie titled Missing Mark. Doro became more prominent in the Nigerian movie industry in 1995 after featuring in an action comedy movie titled Rattlesnake. In 2007, he received the United Nations Ambassador of Peace Award for his positive influence on the youths. In 2010, Doro was appointed as the interim president of the Actors Guild of Nigeria, and also in the same year was nominated for Best Actor in a supporting role at the African Movie Academy Awards. Doro and his wife, Adokie, got married in 2003 and have 4 children together. Doro and Adokie both attended the University of Port Harcourt, Rivers State. But I know that it's been such a great time, you know. But let me allow my ginger. Of course, I'm not alone. I've got my ginger.
Yeah, but before that, let me just make some corrections.
Yes.
First, I had 3 kids, lost one.
Yeah.
2 years ago, and I did not receive an award from AMA.
Okay.
It was a TIMA award, so you know. Then I finished from University of Port Harcourt. I think just those distortions, they just leave them at that.
Okay.
You know how it is. Everybody gets their own side.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing that you're here to clarify that.
Yeah.
Mr. Francis.
Yes, bro.
Well, I'm shocked. 59 already.
That's it.
I have you in my head as the younger Hannah.
Yeah.
I was shocked to read that you're already 59 years.
That's the myth of movie making.
Wow. So how does it feel? 59? So soon. What's different with this birthday than others?
Well, the difference is that this particular one has celebrated it inside the bush.
Oh, really? Hunting?
No, filming. And in fact, we celebrated it with, what do you call it? Agidi and pepper soup. You know, it speaks to the depth of passion and the discipline the industry calls, that when it calls your attention and you're given to a particular responsibility, you have no choice. I would have stayed, but again, I had been paid to come and do this job, and somehow things did not really work out well with the schedule, and I still had to come. The duty calls, you know, the show must go on. So, but again, beyond that, the difference is that now we begin to look at life from a totally different perspective. And I look at life now from the point of gratitude. When you look at 59 years back, you begin to ask yourself questions. Colleagues, friends you were with, you know, have passed on. Not as if you are the most perfect, but just the grace of God in our lives. And so when I look at it, I see grace at work. Grace at work, and have no choice but gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. And I've told myself, don't complain. Take whatever it is, little by little. The Frenchman says, petit à petit, l'oiseau fait son nid, which means little by little, the bird makes his nest. So that's how I'm taking it. But I want to thank God for his grace.
That's amazing. And speaking of French, you know, I read about your background. I mean, being born in Cameroon, Francophone, migrating to Nigeria, Anglophone, and you dive right into the industry and you've made it back. And hearing you talk about making movies and your gratitude, it ignites this nostalgia in me as a youth in the 90s and early 2000s. A lot of your colleagues have passed yonder. You are here and you are still doing it the old ways. I want to ask, what changed? Where is Nollywood today? Remember those days, it was ENUGU. Do you have a new destination? What are the remarkable changes?
The remarkable change now is that Nollywood is everywhere. There is nowhere that movies are not being made. The remarkable change is that Nollywood has ceased being local. It has gone global, though within its local content. I was just speaking with Shego Arinze. You know, he's in Morocco. That's Nollywood. And he was just telling me what it has been like filming there, big studios and all that stuff. Now the point is that even if it's one person who has gone to those places to shoot the big picture, it comes from somewhere. So whether you like it or not, Nollywood remains a reference point of excellence. Excellence that is honed, born out of the skills of young men and women who stretched and were able to like bring water out of the stone. And today everybody talks about Nollywood, Nollywood, Nollywood. But it was not just, or it has not been an easy task. But each day we grow, we advance. Truth is, we are not where we used to be, but we are not where we are supposed to be. You know, and you know, when Nigeria happens, it happens to everything.
Yes, you're right.
Okay, so let's take a bit backward. Okay, can you walk us through what ignited the passion for you to go into the movie industry, and what was the experience like? How did you get into the industry?
Yeah, maybe I'll take getting into the industry because it is more holistic. Okay. Since getting into the movie industry is part and parcel of it. And I wouldn't want to say it's a chance thing. You know, sometimes when destiny calls, you may not know the route it is taking you to. It may take you to routes, you don't understand, but you find yourself at a place. Now, I was born in the Cameroon, 1984. I came back to Nigeria, did my class 4 and 5, St. Thomas Aquinas, Iselambano, did my WAEC, but I was naive in terms of the educational culture, the climb in Nigeria, because in the Cameroons it used to be lower 6, upper 6 to move to the university. They said there is jam. I made my WAEC, 9 papers. My best result was the P8 in mathematics.
That means you're very good at maths.
Look at this man. I said my best result is a P8 in mathematics. You know what that means? Yeah, this mathematics was a terror. So it was the only that would have set me back. The rest of my papers, A's and B's, I think 5 A's, 4 B's and all that stuff.
And they had to just throw in that mathematics to embarrass you.
Not to embarrass me. Can
Embarrass you.
No, can I tell you the truth? That was all I needed.
Oh.
That was all I wanted, because I knew too well that I had no business to do with science.
Okay.
But I don't want any rubbish that science will come and throw water, sansan in my gari. Give me F9, and I said, okay, I am now doing second missionary journey because of mathematics. So when it came, the day my result came, we went to school, we were checking results. I was not checking any other thing. I had
your mathematics.
I had every confidence. I was checking my mathematics. Lo and behold, my mathematics teacher was close by Mrs. Queen. And so what I checked, I saw P8. I jumped. She said, "What did you score?" I said, "P8, man." And you are jumping. I said, "This man does not know what. This man does not know this is a prayer point that has been answered."
Project myself
Now, from there, the point I'm making with that, so I finished. I started writing JAMB. I write JAMB, I do well the second cutoff point. So cutoff point. So that stay, I was living with my late grandmother for 2 years. And my late grand aunt had to take me to Obibo. Port Harcourt. They met friends there. Then there's this friend of mine, Theophilus Lemchi, was always leaving Oyibo to Port Harcourt because he was in Willy Willy. And they do stage production. So on this particular day, I said, okay, let me just follow you guys since we have nothing doing. And I went to the theater, Settled Productions by late Uriel Paul Warwicker, my first mentor. So we went to they have this repertory theater in Rumi Bekwe Estate. So we went there, they were rehearsing. And they said they needed, the guy who was supposed to play the role of a Calabar man wasn't there. Now, when I talk about when destiny comes, while in Cameroon, the luxury of television was not really there. But this turntable, okay. Because our shop, my parents' shop was in the park.
The music culture.
Yes, the music culture. So we would always say, Claros and Gregory, they were all in LPs that time. So you hear everything about Zebudia. I could mimic everybody from Zebudia to Claros and, So when they say, okay, can I? I say, well, Gregory that I have been imitating stepped in. And that was how I took that role.
So you were prepared for fate at that time?
Yes.
Without knowing it?
Without knowing it. As I took that particular thing and played that drama sketch for like 4 minutes, that's how I became part and parcel of what to do. No, that is the Settled Production. From there, we started going for theater productions, did everything, meeting people in other districts. Telefest came, that of River State. We had lecturers from University of Port Harcourt, Theatre Arts, Cultural Center. And when actors meet, nobody knows who is a professor. We play, mingle, and all that stuff. And now, not knowing that within those professors and teachers, they could see people, So when we finished, one lecturer came to me, Professor Imaselu. He said, you need to pick the certificate form of theater arts. I had actually written JAM.
What did you apply for in JAM?
Theater arts.
As well.
Oh.
The same University of Port Harcourt. Because of the environment, I now found myself. I now understood that there's a career called theater arts. So now, sorry, it's very necessary because if I don't paint this dot,
please go ahead. We like the
now, instead of going for the JAM, we said no. I should go for the certificate course, and the certificate course is a 1-year course, compressed in theater arts. And I left the JAM. So the sacrifice I made was missing 1 year. So while I was going to certificate, Professor Alex Asibo, now of the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, we entered the same day. They now went for the degree. So we went for the certificate. It was much more professional course. So finished the 1-year professional course. 1 year waiting for the next academic session where we start again for the degree as year 1 students, not going to year 2. So lost that year. They went for the academic, we went for the, and I'll tell you the truth. That was the biggest advice I ever had in my life, which actually
shaped your future.
Shaped my future and has built me solidly. That 1 year in University of Port Harcourt certificate course, theater arts. After that 1 year, it was like bring all the year 1 to 4. Year 1
into 1 year.
Yeah, year 1. Heaven bears me witness. I was competing with final year students. So if they cast me and you for a role, go and sleep. It is done. One, because I will always be there. The hunger was there, zeal, passion. You could see it burning.
And the skill.
And no, there was no skill there. Talent. All through University of Port Harcourt, it was talent getting better. It was when Missing Mask came calling, pop, after that 1 year, that I knew that the talent had now, now that more or less metamorphosed into raw skill. And here was the people from Aba, Leighton Dubisioko and his crew. They were the first to tap from the abundance of that new skill before Rattlesnake.
Oh yeah.
That was my first, and so Rattlesnake, after Missing Mask, were still in the university, undergraduate, then came to Lagos, the fray, the hustle and bustle of Lagos, auditions here and there. And we now went for audition of Rattlesnake, almost 200 and something person. Let me just, but I want to exaggerate that it was large. So it was a pair, boy, to get Peter and Ahanna. So we were like 30 something, myself and one other, Julius Agu, the Monday, Tuesday, the comedian. It was 2 of us. We were all from the University of Port Harcourt. He was a junior student then. So that was how we paired. And when it got to 30 something, everybody had to go.
They found their act.
They have found their act. And that's the story till today.
Talking about that quickly, Francis, you've moved from drama to glamour, letter, epic, and cultural team. How were you able to migrate? Was it intentional or was just
no? That is the power of your skill. The actor must be a 360-degree mold. As a mold for you to cut across the genres, as a mold to cut across different calls in your profession. I'm a master of ceremony. Now I have my CTA, BA, I have my master's in development communication and my doctorate degree in waiting, in development communication. Now, why? Because in the course of what I do, society remains the nucleus. I'm being called to sit on a panel. I'm being called to do master classes. I'm in church for 23 years, Family Worship Center in the youth church, to develop young talents, to mentor all this. These are psychological, socio-psychological, engagements. So as you get deep and involved in it, you build newer skills, and you find yourself newer responsibilities, newer challenges, newer accolades, and people begin to see you from those perspectives of get him. Sometimes I find myself in some spaces, I say, and one man say, but is he not the actor? And I say, yes. Why do you think differently? Because there is that cliche that as actors you are boxed, to think the same way. It gets to glamour, we paint it, it gets to epic, and so that's the depth of dynamism that
all right, this is very interesting so far. It's been interesting. Please stay with us as we'll be going for a movie break, if I have to put it that way. Let's take a look at some of the works of the great Francis Dube with us in the studio. We'll be right back.
We are local.
International community is observing why the main market is in chaos. People.
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye. We have taken this vote by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Nobody must know. Since you are here, I must let you know that I was pushed into death by our father's brothers and sisters. 10 of them! Now, this is what you must do if you're bent on getting even. Listen to me carefully, and never you go contrary to what I will tell you. Follow my instructions. Get 10 fishes of smoked fish, put them in a clay pot, pour in it a bottle of red oil and sprinkle it with a little ado. Then once in a month, once every month, on any Afro market day, fish out 1 fish from the clay pot and throw it into the backyard.
God this, God that, God that. You never told me this God is a cruel God, a wicked God. You are part of my problem. I said, you don't know what you are saying. May God forgive you. No, Mama. No, don't know what you are saying. It is He who the God who needs forgiveness for me because He betrayed me. He betrayed me. Hi.
Wow, a beautiful one. I could see you. I never knew you've done herbalists role before. I've always thought you're the father, the lover boy.
No, but this is not herbalist.
You know, the first one, like a traditional
No,
man.
yeah, the traditional, the character came back. They killed him, so he came back in the spirit realm to give the sister some.
It's a ghost.
A ghost. Yeah, it's a ghost. That's it.
So why why the white stuff?
It has to be a ghost.
No, see, it's a surrealism. Whether in literature or in the art.
Nobody has seen a ghost.
Yeah, you know, it's you want to give it something that will make people understand that this guy does not
no longer
a human being. That's actually surrealistic paintings, you know, could come in different dimensions.
All right. So excuse me. On a serious note, you talked about having a master's degree in development.
My doctorate in waiting now.
A doctorate in waiting. That's a beautiful one. So I just want to ask you, you know, Nollywood,
yes,
big industry, accommodating a lot of youthful energy. The dynamics are huge. Where do you think, and what do you think, and how do you think that Nollywood could help in creating a fertile ground for entrepreneurial, development of Nigerian youths?
It is not whether how, it is already doing it. Well, what do you use? Because sometimes the words we use to describe things, you know, we glorify the words, not knowing that they are already doing it. What other entrepreneurial imperative or forte exists than what Nollywood is, you know? You asked me the first question, did it move from ENUGU? I say it is everywhere. You see, go to Asaba, even in ENUGU as we speak here, there are so many movies, big, small, medium, young persons doing their stuff. The girl who is into makeup, the girl who is into, that's the industry, that's the entrepreneurship. And they are eking out a living and living good and fine. Like you said, it has provided, you know. So it is left for policymakers, I don't want to say government, policymakers to look at these low-hanging fruits, pick them, clean them, amplify them, and add to what they are doing. So it was only President Goodluck Jonathan who attempted through Okonjo-Iweala to add value, to understand the power of this industry. You see, the power of the creative industry is so amazing. Then it's so crazy, it's so funny when they talk about oil brought in this, agriculture brought in this, and you can never say what art has brought in into, call it layman, the profit of the economy of the nation. Meanwhile, it is there. Meanwhile, it's affecting. So policymakers only say it when they want to like receive accolades. You know, we have the largest industry, the third largest. What does it mean? And you cannot state it in your financial template, your fiscal template, that's okay, this is how much Nollywood is giving the country, and you can touch it. So it's the problem. But again, the industry is not waiting for anybody. We keep moving. You can't catch up with us. We move ahead. We don't wait for you when the world comes. Say we want this. I use the word local, but having gone global. Any person who wants to film with me will not go to take permission from Tinubu.
Yes.
Abi, you come directly to me. And I say, okay, fine. If the money is good, I go. You cannot say because you are the Minister of Culture and Tourism, you know, you cannot go because that. So it means there's no grip because you have not protected me enough for me to listen to you, to take your counsel not to do something. So it's all about being fed, having been fed by itself. So we have fed ourselves. We are not hungry. But if you think you need us, you know, do what you need to do.
Talking about.
Let's look at your interim period of being the president of the Actors Guild of Nigeria.
Yes.
And then let's bring home what we see outside the country. We have the likes of Hollywood, Film Village, where you can go do movies.
Yeah.
Why don't we have a replica of something like that?
We have Film Village.
Okay.
Where we are filming now is a Film Village. But what do you mean by Film Village? Everything when you use it, they are relative to what we are talking. Film Village. What would be the ideal film village? That's an example of where we are in after this along Enugu Abakaliki Road. Somebody just bought hectares and has built huts, Igwe's palace, Igwe's house, and all of that. It's a film village. But holistically, a film village should be a one place where these activities happen. You have like 100-room bedroom, and each time you come, you have activities happening there at the same time. And people from outside, more or less as a tourist attraction. You come there, you stay, you can go and watch and see how movies are being made. An American friend came all the way from America, and coincidentally, I did not know. I said, I'm filming. He said, he wants to see how we do it. He came to the location, ate our food. The mosquitoes hit him. I said, you feel it? That's how I've been doing it. And when we finished, the guy was like, you mean you guys go through all this and you churn out these things? I said, that is the Nigerian spirit. So let's forget these names. The one in Tinapa, did it last? It was cosmetic. So when you say a film village, it should be organic, relative to the needs of the people, not a legacy project. America, you say the industry is instituted on various policies, but here's an industry that just came to be.
Growing on its own.
Individual hustle. And till today, is struggling to have that kind of institution where, like you mentioned, Actors Guild. I cannot come and tell you that you can't act in this film. You be my papa. So what are you doing for me that you have to tell me you must have done something for me to stand strong for you to say I should not? So it's all growth in progress in all of these things. Like I said, we are not where we used to be, or we are not where we are supposed to be. Where we are supposed to be are the things we need to get to learn to become.
Talking about where we are supposed to be, I mean, with digitalization, the improved technology, including the social media and
AI.
AI maybe in production. I'm not talking about streaming now.
Yeah.
We've been able to export Nollywood to almost everywhere in the world. But there's something that I feel that we have not exported, the scale. Just a few years ago, there was this collaboration that was born in between Nigeria and Ghanaiwood, between Nollywood and Ghanaiwood, and suddenly we no longer see much of that. What happened, and how can we export the scale to other African countries, considering our influence around them?
No, I totally disagree, and it's a disservice to the Nigerian heritage and dignity of the creatives here when you say collaborate with Ghana. We taught Ghana. We mentored Ghana. We showed them the way. And I make bold to say this, no apologies to any quarters. We did not collaborate with them. Till today, they still come here. The mileage they want to get must be identifying with the Nigerian climate.
The origin of what they have.
Yes. Now, let me tell you why. It's because of the skills, the business skills of the Igbo man. When we started, the guys they just wanted to expand their market. And so, okay, let me go there and shoot and use some Ghanaian actors. That's how that industry was built. Using 1, 2, 3, they started creating an industry over there. They learned the ropes and they started. Is that collaboration?
No, it's not collaboration.
No.
That's mentorship.
so in West Africa, we remain the big brothers. Now we have been in all these other countries. Canal Plus, that is rock. It's an oriental project from us here. Have stretched to all of these places. So the collaboration is there. But like you said something when you mentioned streaming, that is where I don't understand what is happening to the money bags. Netflix, if you go to Netflix now, you hardly see it. So can we have a streaming platform that can connect West Africa alone? Big market. In search of somebody. You get the point? So streaming is our issues, not even collaboration. Streaming.
So let's look at the Nollywood industry using their movies as a means of development, you know, and also to create awareness in different decisions and challenges that the country is facing. Do you think we've really met that demand as a nation?
Yes, yes. I make bold to say that Nollywood has been a pedagogic tool to teach people. People sometimes take the things we tell them in the movies, the good ones of course, and run with it. So when there are two modes, descriptive mode of what the society is and the prescriptive mode where you do a movie to say this is how you're supposed to think. Stop saying this, because when you say this does, somebody learns. Television is the mind bender and is the biggest tool with which you can cut into the psyche of any human being. So it molds, it builds minds, perspectives, ideologies, philosophies. So through this we've been able to penetrate, cut across our cultural realms, cut across philosophical realms, teach people how to do the right things, and also teach people how to do the wrong things, which is what I quarrel with most of our writers. Sometimes we write stories that don't exist in our Igbo climb
and make it timid Igbo.
And timid Igbo. But that's when art is involved in a thing, there's nothing you can do. Opinions will always differ. Like people who want to like prescribe what does not exist. I have never been to any Igwe's palace where they begin to throw flowers and all that stuff, all those cosmetics.
Maybe that's influence of other.
Yeah, but again, that's the power of the creative mind. You get the point? So in total, even in awareness today, they use some of our actors to like project, you know, developmental, call it adverts and all that stuff. So we have been very, very pedagogic.
I want to ask you this. Do you think that Nigeria needs a minister for creative economy? And if Nigeria peradventure creates a ministry for creative economy and you are made a minister, what three policies would you prepare?
First and foremost, build the people first. Welfareism. You must actually, the goose that lays the golden egg must be adequately taken care of. Yeah. So they taking care of it spiritually, psychologically, and body-wise. Once you take care of it from this point, the rest is history. Create, you know, leverages that are already existing and the ones that are not existing. Build collaborative platforms that are not ethnic based. It's a deep one. We start talking about that today, we wouldn't leave here.
Go away.
All right, so we'll be going for a short break, and then
this break will they finish?
No, just this very short one. Let's take a look at one other movie you did that's making the round on social media, and we'll get to learn one or two. For some time, it's like you are quiet in the movie.
I've never been quiet.
Never been quiet.
I've never been quiet.
Even after you lost your son.
See, this Saturday, they buried my son. On Sunday, I was in church. Doing what? Doing what I'm supposed to do. after that, yeah, I've never been quiet. Yes, trauma and all that stuff we've been buried till today, but I have never been quiet. I must not only do the movies. It's not only movies I do. Do theater, I do everything, consultancy in different areas. Then I go to school.
You see, he's Gen Z. He thinks so quiet. And I want to ask you a question that is very close to that. You know, Nigerian movie industry, we've moved from VHS to DVD and now to TikTok, Instagram. Has stardom become cheap? What has really changed in Nollywood?
So this is very key. This is very key. Stardom has become cheap. So you have much more popular people than much more famous people.
Okay.
So you have people who are popular.
That's very technical. So when you are looking for the loudness, you know where to get it.
Yeah.
When you are looking for
But I'll tell you the truth. As we speak today, there's still a yearning for the old, you know, and they are still very much in circulation.
You're right.
The chief cornerstone.
You're right.
You know.
Wow.
Okay, let's take a look at a video, one of the clips of the movies you've done. Of course, let's still enjoy the show. Let's do with you.
And I'm left alone. What did she do? Why are you so hard on me? Why are you so hard on me?
Jesus!
Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am.
Good day, doctor.
Good day, sir.
Good day, ma.
She has paid.
Who has paid?
She has cleared all your bills. Yes, you just have to.
All right, it's a beautiful movie, I must say. And when I watched that movie, when I watched you, you know how to deliver your roles. You were very, very emotional in that movie, and we could feel it. In as much as you're going to share a little thought about that movie, I also like to learn, how does it feel, you know, working with those days actors, the legend of those days, and then the current actors, the digital age actors now. I remember one of the videos of you I saw with I think Kana, if I'm not mistaken, where you guys said those days you eat together and all of that, but nowadays things have changed. Let's just compare them.
It's a big problem. But again, it depends on who the actor is. I'm a teacher. I'm an actor teacher. So when I see people who have problems in acting, it does not scare me. I see that as an opportunity to teach. So if I'm working with you and I find out that you're not there, there are diplomatic ways of helping each other. When I start by showing the way to get to it, and you get it well, the next time you're the one coming to me, which means there has been an exchange of knowledge. We have no other choice but to help the younger ones, no matter how they want to. Even your child at home is a Gen Z, will even want to challenge you, the father, because that is their way of thought. I teach in the Sunday school, Family Worship Center, the youth church for 23 years. Yes,
Even after fame.
I don't know what after fame. I don't know what after fame means. I use the word popular and famous. Being popular, notorious makes you popular. But famous, being famous means
there's a niche that you have made a mark.
The value you have created, and people remember you for that value, not for your notoriety. You get the point? And so that value is that for 23 years, you see a kid, that a man runs to you at the airport. You taught me in church. Thank you for those lessons. Amazing.
They are teenagers, 13, 14, 15, 16, with you. They grow up, they get married, they grow up in your eyes. But the next thing you hear that they are getting married, they get children, they are now parents. They come back to the same ministry now as a minister. So both of you, that's growth. So the same thing we do with these other ones. There's an exchange. It has to be diplomatically done. Hear their opinions.
Talking about that, I would like to go a little personal, and I hope you will forgive me for that. You describe your son as a champ.
Yeah.
And a lion who fought valiantly, but you lost him.
Yes.
How has fatherhood and grief redefined your outlook on life and work?
Yes, I'll tell you the truth. Something must define a man. And what defines me is spirituality. The core of spirituality is God. And if God defines me, it means His manual, the Bible, His word is what actually takes me through. What has sustained me after we lost Ifani, may his soul rest in peace. Amen. After we lost Ifani, is the word of God as a sustaining tool that each day, that beyond the grief, you can still say God is a good God. That beyond the grief, you can still appreciate God for what you know, that your life is not being defined by grief. And you see grief as one of those hurdles in life. Life has never been and will never be a straight line. There'll be turns, there'll be, but when it turns, do not mistake the bus stop as the destination. The bus stop could be the place from where you rise up again. So for me, the hurt, the pain comes and goes. Now as a wound, I'm believing God, it will become a scar, but it will never leave.
You've had a lot of mentors, you've had colleagues, you've had producers and directors. Can you still recall those who believed in you early in your career?
First and foremost, the man who took the risk and gave me my first chance by just walking to my room in University of Port Harcourt after I finished theater arts, and when I finished reading, he handed me a script and I played my first role as a movie actor, as a lead role. Late ENUGU. 2, the man who mentored me, who taught me acting like by hand, my teacher, late Columbus Iriswaga. And even as a student, for me to understand, and I did not even know that I had grown to the point that I'll be acting on stage for the university community with my acting lecturer. Your teacher, you are sharing the stage with your teacher, not for rehearsal now, but for performance. You practice in private. That practice would have remained in private, but you perform in public. Now, having practiced in private, you move over to the performance space and you're performing with your teacher. Those two people, first and foremost, I don't want to share their flowers with, but those are the two principal persons.
All right. So you earlier mentioned that Nollywood is not where they were, although they are getting better. But what do you think could be the major challenges affecting Nollywood, and how can it be managed?
The major challenge affecting Nollywood, first and foremost, is distribution. Distribution, then practice, that is ethics and professional heritage. Because today, like you already said, anybody can become an actor. We have YouTube actors and all that stuff, and the people are actually torn. But again, the truth about it in terms of distribution, you talked about the migration from VHS and all that stuff. It is not about how much money we are making. It is also about how much money we are not making. The old woman who sells tomatoes in the motor park, the vulcanizer, and you name them within that particular time. What used to happen in the days of VHS or even CD? After selling, they go and buy. Then after cooking, they relax, they slaughter. The whole family comes to watch. Social cohesion. That was what our movies did then. But now if you just dismiss it because of technology advancement, YouTube, where are those people? Did they watch YouTube? I was filming in ENUGU one time. I went to one village, and an elderly woman looked at me and crossed and started murmuring. The way she greeted me like somebody she knows. I said, you know how elderly women they'll greet you as if you are the son of somebody they know. Later, up to like 2 hours, the woman came to where we are filming, and I could hear just, Kedi Mukocha name film. No loggy. They came and called me. You know what the woman said? You could see the passion. The woman started narrating movies. It's a pointer to the fact that there are so many of those persons who have been deprived because of technology. So would you say because technology has come, you move ahead? See, brother, water will always return to its source.
So, cinema culture, YouTube economy, where do you think a serious filmmaker should pitch his future?
Now you see, I wouldn't even want to say so much with so much confidence in those areas. One, but I'll tell you the truth. All that glitters is not gold. Even the YouTube economy, like my big brother said here, the likes of Uchembu Nabo, they have rewritten it to a level of, that is to taking it to a deeper level that you have no choice but to try to reach them. But in trying to reach them, you can't jump the gun, because it was an intentional process that the guy, I need to mention it because we need actually give flowers to people who have actually, Uchembunabo has quietly created a revolution and an industry that has quietly grown and is sitting there without making noise, not competing with anybody within the YouTube economy. Now, question is, can we have 10 more that will be within that space? It means you have it spread out there. Cinema culture, first and foremost. These are beautiful, low-hanging fruits. But like you said, as a culture, it must be processed. Who is ready to process it? Who is ready to dole out the cash? Because already we have the platforms now. Filmmaking and all that, so going to watch cinemas now. But there is for who? The elite class, the Gen Zs. But when you pick them, could you also look for another way to create something for? Sundays is a day for meetings. So you create it. Who is going to leave his Sunday meeting now? Or meeting Omona to go and watch cinema? So you see, these are experiments we must do. Now, the truth about it is that we did not finish before we started in Nollywood. You know what I said? We did not finish before we started. And every good business enterprise, you finish before you start. You see your market before you even start building the product.
Do you think that knowledge gap, or if you may, the industry literacy gap, I said the literacy did not match the rate of growth of the industry? Does that impact seriously on the quality of products?
It is not an insult. It is not an abuse. It is the ultimate truth. And that's why I said you did not finish before you start. That's what killed our brothers in Idumota and all that stuff when they were growing. I remember having interviews one day that I was really radical in Lagos. And I said, marketing is in the hands of illiterates. And they attacked. I said, I don't care whether you attack me.
They started trying to control the industry.
You see, you get it. I said, marketing was in the hands of illiterate. And I don't care whether you want to attack me. So Afolabi granted me an interview then. I said, listen, I am an illiterate in banking. I'm an illiterate in agriculture. So when I say,
illiterates.
Illiterates.
It's not an insultive way.
I said, no apologies. You don't want to give me the... I was very radical. And I told them, you're not coming to me because you like me. You're coming to me because you know I can deliver your job.
You have value.
I have value. I don't do chairman.
Okay, so for the sake of time, as we're about to wrap up, let's learn what is your advice, for up and coming actors to follow if they want to get into the industry.
I will always say follow process. If you jump up, you will come down. If you grow up, you will stay up. Process is key. I only learned through process. And in process, you will serve. You will need mentors. You must learn how to take advice. You must listen. I understand it may sound funny, but that was how I was raised as an actor. I had my best award in life, and I was the only one there. Late Olarotimi, after we finished a production, and I messed up on stage by cutting my hand. I never knew that the man saw it. Dragged me to his car, sent for me, and insulted the hell out of my life. At a point, I thought he was going to praise me. Then called me back, took me to his house, and did boiled yam and meat. When I finished, he looked at me. You are a great actor. Don't let it get into your head. So that sense of humility is what has kept me, that I'm able to learn from even the smallest. Teachability, if you must grow in this industry.
Thank you so much, Francis Duro, for joining us. Wow, it's been really enlightening having this conversation with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the great work you've done.
Thank you.
In the movie industry.
It's my boss, so he's the only man who can drag me. It's 2 o'clock when they call, he say, I said, this man, because I needed to catch like another 1.5 hours sleep. But he say, when the boss calls,
have to respond.
When men have built so much reputation, they don't need to force themselves. It is not him he is not the one who called. It was his reputation, his integrity that called, his personality.
You are speaking to the Gen Zs.
Mark Ginger.
Well, that was a wonderful one. I could easily relate because we saw you in the big screen. We were there, sometimes visited the set and all that. Saw you grow, saw you become a superstar, and now I'm seeing you as an old man.
No, I'm not old. You see,
as an aging man.
No, when you say old means out of use. Am I out of use?
No.
The word is
context matters.
The word is elderly.
Okay. So it's really good to see you. I am awed that you are so articulate and you've been able to tackle all the issues headlong. So much information coming from you. I wish there was much more time. Don't stop what you're doing. posterity will always remember.
I'm part of you. It's Oga who abandoned me. Anytime Signature. I'll tell you the truth. I was telling him inside. I remember when Signature started, just an online. Amazing how far it's grown. That's the power of process.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Francis.
God bless you.
God
bless
bless
you.
you. And this is how far we go on this part of the conversation this morning. Stay with us for more exciting and beautiful content coming on Signature Television. My name is Christopher Levy.
Tired of the snow? Tired of the bad TV signals? Nigeria has gone digital. Introducing Free TV, the national platform for every Nigerian. Get 100 plus channels immediately. Sports, news, and entertainment in your native language. All with clear picture quality. Whether you're in the city or the village, our satellite signal reaches every corner of 36 states from day one. No monthly subscription, just a compatible decoder and you are set. It's a national asset built for you. Take the show on the road, download the Free TV app and stream your favorite channels anywhere. Starting this May, scan to download the app or call 0700 388 7277. Free TV, digital TV for free. Brought to you by NBC.
When I arrived my parish, Archbishop said, he sent a car to come and pick me. And I went straight to his house. He said, can you can take a holiday. I said, you asked me to come back. No, take a holiday. I said, no, I'm not taking a holiday. You asked me to come back, I'm back. So he sent me to Paris that I left before I got to Catholic Secretariat. So I went back to the parish and found the parish so miserably run down. And what was very interesting about the parish was that 2 priests had died. So when I I died in the parish. So when my cousin heard that she had been in the parish for almost like forever, so she rushed to come and greet me. And the first thing she said to me, "Hey, so now they've sent you here to come and die, isn't it? Somebody doesn't like you. People have been dying here. Now they've sent you here to come and die. Okay." I sat down in Kakuri. Then I started calling my friends because the place was totally run down. Curtains, lights, toilets, everything broken. So I started calling my friends. Unfortunately, I called a friend of mine. I don't know how the matter went. Entered the ears of Obasanjo, was president. So I'm sitting down, there are no mobile phones. I didn't have a mobile phone. It was 2005. So I'm sitting in my party, the phone rings, I picked it up. And it's President Obasanjo. "Father," he said, "where are you?" I said, "I'm in Kabuse." "You went for your study, you came back? You come back, you don't even call me to tell me that you are back?" I said, "You are not my bishop, sir. I had no obligation. I'm back in my parish." Then he said to me, you know the way President Obasanjo can say, "So what have you done? This is your Catholic church. I hear that they have posted you to a poor place, you are calling people looking for money." I said, "Yes, sir. It's not a poor parish." I said, "Wherever God is cannot be poor, but I need to fix the place. That's why I'm making some calls." And I said, "I know I won't call you because you won't give me money." So we got, now to fast forward, because it's a long story, but to fast forward, how could I have imagined that it's from the same Kakuri that I'll be called upon and become Bishop of Sokoto? So, and then if you go back to Kakuri and see the infrastructural transformation that took place, that today Kakuri has the best church in the whole of Kaduna. So what I'm saying in effect is that I have learned, no matter the temptation, to accept God's will. So that has really helped in shaping my life, because there are things that just happen to me. Then how would I have known that coming back, because barely a month after Obasanjo calls me to become secretary of the Political Reform Conference, I finished, the same President Obasanjo says to me, "Please help us fix Ogoni." Then I finished, Yaradua calls me to be member of the Electoral Reform Committee. I work on that. And then the next thing, how did I, no, so if I had stayed away in New York, I don't know, my bishop would probably still have agreed. But this attempt to help God, I've tried to make sure that, so if you see my life the way it has turned, I can tell you, cross my heart, it's not through any effort on my part. I think God has just been extraordinarily magnanimous, and I'm not sure that I have perfectly followed the path, but I've tried as much as possible to freeze my hands and let him be the driver. So where I am now, I'm just convinced that this is where God wanted me.
So it's not like there's any special diplomacy.
Yeah, because
it's not like you set out to do it in a particular way.
Most of the text has always been written in my absence. It's not, I've never, when President Obasanjo called me the second time to say he wanted me to deal with the Ogoni issue, I told him, I said, "Oga, I've just finished this thing. I want to go back to my parish." And he says to me, "No." Because, and one interesting thing was, he said to me, "I've already concluded talk with your bishop." Because he realized when he appointed me to put up panel, there was a lot of problem. Because when I got the telephone call, I told them, "I'm Secretary General of the Catholic Secretariat. I'm answerable to the President of the Catholic Bishops' Conference. I cannot leave my desk to come and take this position. If you want to give me a position, talk to the President of Conference. He's my employer for now." And the man who called me from the villa was shocked and still reminded me that it is the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that is offering me an appointment. I said, "I'm sorry, sir. I'm not answerable to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I appreciate the interest, but this is..." And they went through that process. What struck me, so when he came to Obasanjo, he also realized that I would do nothing without the approval of my bishop. And therefore, for me, every appointment, whether Political Reform Conference or put-up panel, I took it as a pastoral assignment. And so, what struck me really deeply was in the case of Yaradua appointing me to serve as a member of the Electoral Reform Committee. If you go back and check the newspaper report, I was away. I was in New York. And I was in, I wasn't in New York. Where was, yes. I was in New York State, let me say. So, and I was holiday with my friend. He was in a parish that was in a depression, in a valley. So, at my mobile, I couldn't answer any calls. So, the day I was leaving, as we were driving, once we crossed the hill, I just started here, pump on my phone. Text messages were. Before I knew what was happening, I opened there were about 20-something text messages. I started reading the text, and I discovered somebody from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs I didn't even know had been calling me. So I returned the call and he said, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm in New York. The president is looking for you." For what? And then I now heard the newspaper reported when they couldn't reach me, Yaradua still suppressed my name. And if you go back, I don't remember the date, but it was in this day. The names all came out. And then there was a statement at the end that there is still somebody from the, they didn't say from the church, but anyway, that like we're still expecting somebody. And when I had a chance of meeting Yaradua, and I raised this issue, Yaradua said to me, "We're not stupid. We know the Catholic Church. We know that the Catholic people will not jump on this." And we also, I don't know how, but I was happy that he said, "We know." Maybe he spoke to Obasa, I don't know. He said, "We know that you will not jump at any appointment without the approval of the authorities." That, and for me, that was gave me a sense of vindication that people appreciate the processes of the Catholic Church. So I have, as I said, in my view, I have never tried to. I know how shocked I was as a priest, and as a secretary and the Catholic secretary when I received the communication from the Holy Father. I've been appointed to serve as how, so. So I don't have. You're just there in the house of God. Yeah, because I get a lot of young people, priests, lay people who say to me, "I want to be like yourself." God, which part of me do you want to be? Because I would like to play football as JJ Okocha. I would like to play as but I can't. So which part of me do you want? Which part of me do you want?
The Lordship, you've been busy recently talking about so many things, and one of the issues that you have raised is this constant position by government that, look, things are getting better, the GDP is getting better, this has been published, and so I mean published. You reminded the president recently that it's not yet Uhuru. Are you worried that most of our leaders are more interested in the numbers and not how policies have affected the ordinary Nigerian? Is this something that bothers you?
In my view, human expectations are moving parts. You can never, the human being is insatiable. Okay, when you were a reporter, you dreamt of maybe having a television station of your own. Now you have a television station of your own. But you know that it's not really, you're just starting. You want something bigger. Human needs are insatiable, and they will always be. So there will never be any government. And this is why I labor to make the point. And in Nigeria, because we have internalized cynicism almost as something, so it is never really the case that, because if you say anything good about government, they don't pay up. But I always joke, and I said, look, if I went to your wife now and said, "Madam, is your husband Vin? I like him. Correct gentleman. I like to make him chairman of our church council." That's that, because guy is just flawless. The wife will look at me and say, "Poor man, don't know what I'm living with at home." Because so each and every one of us, Pope John Paul I made a statement. He said, each and every one of us is three persons. There is you as only you know yourself. Your best friend, your wife, no matter how they can claim, they don't know that part of you. There is you as your friends know you. And there is you that neither you nor your friends know, only God. So there will never be a president that will enjoy public approval as in clapping. Even in a football stadium, one side goes away unhappy. Nigerians must tune themselves. It's got nothing to do with President Ahmed Tinubu, that there will never be a president. And after elections, the real problem starts. The question is, and this is also where ethics, policy, and these are the kind of things we're trying to do at the Kuka Center. We've spoken only about the Peace Committee. My interest at the Kuka Center is inspired by what I experienced as a student at the Kennedy School. That policy processes can be refined and redefined and broken into cookies so that people who are formulating policy know what is possible, drawing inspiration from ordinary people. We are not running the British system of government, where every minister, for example, is a member of parliament, in which case their understanding of policy, their ideological commitment is constrained. You can't go. So even if you are a minister, you are constantly in a parliament debating, redefining, listening to criticism. Okay, because the opposition is relentless in its criticism. But in Nigeria, and these are some of the decisions that we need to start thinking through. We adopted this American presidential system. It is too expensive. There's no way you can run it without corruption because corruption is built into it. The only way that Americans are getting away with it is that their own corruption is channeled through media and all kinds of other things. But it's not different. What it costs you to be a senator, a congressman in America, it's not different from what it's going to cost. It's even probably less here, but they are committing it to adverts. But money, not money. You still have to spend money.
And they need to raise the money.
The British parliamentary system was slightly different. And that is why it would have approximated the kind of things and the vision that we have for a plural and a complex, ethnically, religiously, morally complex society like Nigeria. So today you talk about opposition. What is the reward for being in opposition in Nigeria? Okay, you cannot say, for example, that you are an opposition member of the Anambra or Imo State or Sokoto House of Assembly. Because after some time, when they start squeezing you out, you are not getting the opportunities. The chief of their community, when it comes to meeting, they will say, oh, okay, this is the chief of our opponent. And the man realizes he's been denied a car because his son is in opposition. They call and say, oh, God, we are being squeezed out though because we're in opposition. So please, Kuku, go back and serve us. So but to answer your question, it depends on where you are. I think that, and I don't want to be misquoted or misrepresented. As far as I'm concerned, we are not where we ought to be, but we are not where we were in every dimension. I can say that. So, and if I take a minimalist position, in part because of maybe where I come from and my own background and my own expectations. But if you go and speak to an Ogoni man today, okay, that's something they never dreamt about. If you ask the average Ogoni man, they'll probably tell you all they are waiting for now is a state to be created for them. But they verify that Ogoni are looking for a state. Southern Kaduna is looking for a state. Ibadan is looking for a state. What that means is people are having different experiences of what it is to be content in Nigeria. The Ogoni people will say, we now have a university in Ogoni land. Okay, our son, Ledu Mite, who was the only surviving agitator of the Ogoni 9. How did he ever imagine that he would end up as a member of the board of NNPC, where the big boys are sitting? How did the Ogoni ever dream that one of their daughters, Joy Nunia, will ever be something like a chairman of NDDC? So they too don't come to the table. They've gotten cutlery. They've also participated. So if you talk to those people about their needs, they are completely different. If you come to Southern Kaduna, you're talking to somebody about this government, whether they are belly full or they are belly no full, they will tell you, we may be hungry, but the sight of our university don't fool our belly. So there are metaphorical ways of looking at contentment. So I said something that I was in my small village. One time I called somebody, a young man who normally runs errands for me at home, whether it's giving fertilizer. I told him, I said, look, I want to buy some bags of maize to send home. to my family and other people to distribute in the village among themselves. The guy said to me, no need, Bishop. I said, what do you mean? He said, no, people are happy in the village. I said, what do you mean? They are eating, and I now realize that I'm not saying there's no poverty in Nigeria, but truth be told, culturally, it is difficult for a man to die of hunger in his village. So, the riffraffs who have been abandoned in the north and are flooding everywhere as beggars cannot be a definition of poverty in Nigeria, because if there are people to responsibility, things will be completely different. There's nowhere in the world where government business to feed everybody on the street. So there are differences between urban poverty and, because when I ask in my village, the people are saying whether Nigeria GDP rises to anything, it has not touched us.
Yeah, because I'm talking about the connection between the numbers and the breakfast table.
Well, it depends on whose breakfast table you are talking about. Because again, what I heard from this guy, even though it's my village, I was shocked to hear that, because the man said, and I now realize, if you are not going to a shop to buy palm oil, you are not going to a shop to buy buy salt, you are not going to buy the kind of things people are buying in the city, and you're just eating what you've always eaten from the beginning of time, your level of poverty will be contingent on how much you're able to farm. People might be worried that maybe the bandits stop them from farming as much, but they still have. So, but to get to your point, I don't know the figures, I don't know the maths, I don't know the GDP, I don't know the coefficient and all those numbers, I don't know. But like somebody says, statistics are like bikinis. Very often what they hide is more than what they reveal. And government will always, please give government the credit. Okay, Delegiwa used to say it is government business to hide their secrets. We journalists are business to find those secrets. So the very fact that if President Tinubu likes, he can say, Nigerians, all your problems have been solved. Okay, that's him saying everybody has electricity everywhere. Luckily for us, now we have to have fact checks. And in the president's speech, he gave numbers of what young people, what loans have been given, and the billions that have been sunk into. My brother, it is your duty as a journalist to let me know that these numbers don't match. It is the business of young people to demand for. We have a Freedom of Information Act. Okay. It is possible for you to go to if the president said that 541 children have accessed loans of what, you can go and say, where is the data? He has generated that data, maybe it's for publicity. He has gotten away with it. If he can only get away with it if we are intellectually lazy and decide not to. So for me, relinquishing our duty post about confronting government, that's the issue. But if you are blaming the president, I don't think you should blame the president. The soldiers can wake up and tell, we are finished with Boko Haram, there's nobody left. They've made a statement.
You need to fact check
it. It is left for you to say, Oga, because like I said on a television program, if you tell me now that this banditry is over, only yesterday, and cross my heart, I'm telling you the truth. Only 3 days ago, okay, today is Saturday. On Thursday morning, I received a call from a young Fulani boy who is from around my area. I helped put him through school. But his father, who was the Ardo, that is the local chief of the Fulanis, was very close to our tradition, very, very close to, literally like part of our family. But he was killed by the bandits because they said that he was fraternizing with our people too much. Then his son took over his position. He called me to say he was working here in Abuja. Called me to say, look, he wants to replace his father. I said, oh, God, are you going to be able to? Why don't you continue? He said, no, that they are putting pressure on him because it's the first. He became the chief. Now he's been kidnapped. It's more than 3 months now. He called me last week, called me on Thursday.
From where he's kidnapped?
Where he's been kidnapped. I said, where are you? He said, I have no idea. I said, okay. So how many of you? He said, there are over 30-something or 40-something of them where he is. I said, but how? Because he keeps calling me. And I'm a bit curious. I said, how did you manage? Because I know I've been involved with this issue because my priests have been kidnapped. I have an idea of the negotiation. I know the kind of things. In my own case, actually, in the case of all my priests that have been kidnapped, We documented all the transactions. They are on audio because I want them for our archives. Now, these guys will always tell you, sometimes they may flog you genuinely, okay, to create a sense of pain, to force your people to pay. My nephew, who lives in this town, was kidnapped, was with his mother coming back from Jos, where their father is. He was kidnapped. Now, they left his mother because she had suffered, she had had an amputation. So they let her go. We started the negotiation. Then one day, my brother who works here calls me to say, look, these guys have finally decided that they will let our nephew go. But they want, I think it was ₦1 million or so. And they've told him if we can't come to pick him at this hour, they will just kill him and throw away the body. If they lie, they can tell us where to find his dead body. Long story short, the young man was finally rescued. But he told me, I said, how was it? He said, that day that they called and said that they will kill him, they were actually sitting down and roasting a ram with the bandits. Yeah, and the bandits said they needed to conclude the deal because by Friday, they will appear as normal human beings, enter the city, and then find a few girls, enjoy themselves, and then on Sunday, they will return to the forest. So, but the point I'm making is that it is the business of government. If you can tell everybody at the local beer parlor that, me, Vin, Martin, my children, if you come to my house, my children they are sleeping on water mattresses. My house is, my wife is only if they don't want, but otherwise every month I tell my wife, here is 500,000 naira for shopping. You can tell, fine. If somebody whispers that, say, madam, now wow, we just say this is not the thing where your husband. Now so my husband talk. You have already told your people you are friend. If it is her business, you find a way of saying, call my husband, let him show you where the 500,000 he leaves for us. So what I'm saying in effect is, our business
is the job of government to say the things.
And for us to say, it is our business to say, Oga, it never reach us. And that is how, because it's our business to let me expose government. Let me use that expression. That's what the media was meant to do.
And that's what we do.
Yeah, but
as much as we can.
We now have a problem in Nigeria because all of us are incorporated, including the church. Okay? There was a time one of my brothers told me in the village, he said, okay, we are worried though. It's not necessarily about my safety, but that they are complaining that you are harassing us too much. And my brother was our chief. He died in December last year. But he said, we'll turn up for me. They are saying, tell your brother to leave government alone now. They are putting pressure on us. One of the ambassadors, I won't call the country, I never met him before. They just told me he was looking for me, wanted to see me. So we finally met. Man said to me, he said, look, I have a brother. He's also making noise like you.
In their country?
Yes. But I have warned him to keep quiet and not to endanger my job. Okay, because government is not happy. If he persists, they will withdraw me from. So God said, I'm telling my brother, keep quiet. One thing I give praise to the governments of Nigeria, successive governments. As a priest, media, so on. In comparative terms, in my own case, you raised the question, maybe I didn't answer it, is that I have found people in government who say to me, and it's for me my greatest consolation, it's not that I do it purposely, but people say to me, we know you are honest in your criticism, and we know we love this country. There was a time I delivered a lecture. Obasanjo was president there, and Yayele Ahmed, who was secretary to government at that time, when I finished, he came to me, he said, Kada matana the dachi amaza musha. That is, you have mixed the concoction. It is bitter, but we will drink it because it's from you. The current vice president, when my brother died, he came to our village. My village is in the middle of nowhere up till today. And he said to me, later when we were chatting, he said, you know, some of my aides said, Bishop Kuka is always criticizing government. How are you going to his village? What are you going to say? He said, I told them, He was criticizing us before we came to government. He criticized us before us. That is his job. If he stops criticizing us, then it means he has taken our card and is a member of our party. So I also sense that, and I encountered these people, and they tell me the Sam Egu, the former governor, there was a time I had to address the students, I think alumni of University of Nigeria and Nsukka, and I think he was the chairman. So when we finished, he said to me, and in the course of his speech, he said, look, and I've never forgotten it, he said, Bishop Kuka. No, I wasn't a bishop. He said, Father Kuka, you know, we like to listen to you because not only do you criticize, you offer us some alternatives. And I took that very seriously. So freedom of speech is not freedom to talk nonsense. It is freedom to talk and hope that people will hear what you're saying. When there was a time people came and told me that when Buhari was about 6 months or more, they said, there's nervousness in the villa. Or they say, President, they are very unhappy with you. What have we done to Bishop Kuka? He has not even allowed us to rest. I called one of the president's aides. I said, tell the president I want to see him. But I'm going back to Sokoto tomorrow. Now, if I'm able to see him, it has to be between now and 11 a.m. tomorrow, because my flight is 12. Now, you cannot put a call through to a presidential aide and say you want to see the president, and you even have the courage to give time. But I don't know why I said so. So the gentleman who is my friend, he knows my relationship with Buhari, and I also know his relationship with Buhari. So he said to me, oh, Bishop, don't worry, I'll call you back in 2 hours. I said, okay. He said, the president is very busy, but I'll call you back in 2 hours. In 30 minutes, he called me. He said, Bishop, just as I finished talking to you, I was walking in the corridor, I saw the president, so I mentioned to him that you wanted to see him. And he said, the president said, Bishop Kuka, find a place for him. He said, Bishop Kuka said that he has to go back to Sokoto tomorrow. And he said, okay, find a place for him. And he said, I told the president, the diary is full. The President Buhari said, you must find a place for him. And before 11. And, you know, so the guy calls me and said, President has meetings all through, but come to the villa about 10. I said, I'll come at 9:30. When I showed up at the villa at 9:30, I'm sitting down about 10 or 10 something. Guy stops, comes to me. There was nobody. The place was empty. Came in and said, the president will now see you. When I sat down with Buhari, this Buhari that people had been, they've been making all the kind of noise that I hated government. I sat down with the president. And then, as he's still holding my hand, he said, we were walking to the chair where I was going to sit. So he was moving and holding my hand. I was following him from behind. And he said to me, he said, I have to see you because I just came out. I said I was meeting with the army chief, or is it the chief of defense or whatever, of Turkey. But I had to cut short the meeting because I was told you wanted to see me. And I heard that you said, I have to see you before 11. I'm like, I'm looking at. So, and I said to him, when we sat down, I said to him jokingly, I said, sir, because I know you won't loan me a presidential plane to take me to Sokoto. I have to be in Sokoto because I have a church activity tomorrow morning. He said, okay, now here we are. We sat down, and I said to him, I said, sir, the reason I won't keep you, the reason why I've come, I heard that you are unhappy with me and the things that I'm saying. And I said it to his face, I said, you know, I have followership, whether Christians or Muslims. I would not like to distract your government. Please tell me the problems you have with me so that we can talk about it. But Buhari looked at me and smiled, and he said, and for me it was very powerful. He said, Bishop, you know that on any issue in Nigeria, even if you don't say a word, I know where you stand. If I have something, I will let you know. But for now, we all appreciate, we've appreciated you for a very long time. And you and I go back many years. So now, so very often people cry more than they believe. But I'm also just making the point that public office holders, this is where diplomacy comes in. The public office holders need what they call a toe holder, you know, people who can. It's not just about saying we are telling you the truth or speaking truth to power. And you can speak truth to power, but merely speaking will not get you results. There has to be another window And this is why, like I said, is the reason why we have the Kuka Center. My interest is to make sure that we help government because this is our country.
Your Lordship, there was something you said recently that I'd like us to talk a little more about. You talked about the military and the damage they had done to our country. And I'm wondering, the military left us since 1999. And the civilians have had all the time to, analyze the mistakes they made and see how, taking from that experience, make Nigeria a better country. Is it right for us to continue to blame the military, just like some Nigerians will blame the colonial masters?
How many years? 1999 to today is what?
Is 20-something years.
Okay. 20-something years. Who was our president? 1999. Obasanjo. Abi? So that's 8 years. Then Buhari did how many years?
Your Lordship, are you suggesting that these people...
Hold on, because you guys are it's about cause and effect. I hear this from soldiers and they say, we've been away for 30 years. You've not been away for 30 years, for crying out loud. You can say that I cut your leg, the scar is still there, and then you tell me, but we cut this leg over 50 years ago or 60. That's not the point. Like I said, Nigerians like to say, okay, you are saying, why are we not like India? Look at Singapore. We started like the same time with Singapore. Look at Malaysia. We started the same time with Malaysia. Look at South Korea. We started the same time. You haven't answered my question. Did any of those people go through a military coup? Did any of those people go through a military coup? Did any of those countries have a military coup? Do you understand what I'm saying? My argument and the book that was launched yesterday by General Rambo, thank God he had the title of it is Scars. That's why in the end of my review, I said, what are we going to do with the scars? Are we going to do plastic surgery to pretend the scars don't exist? And brother, it's not about the military as soldiers. The Nigerian military has produced some of the best up till today, the almost near perfect gentlemen. I don't have a problem with them as soldiers. That's not the point. There can never be a good rape. I am saying that Nigeria had enough to get off the ground in 1960. And had we continued on that path, we would have surpassed Malaysia, would have surpassed Singapore, would have surpassed all the countries that Nigerians like to idolize. We will not be where we are. Why is India where it is? People make this comparison, but answer the fundamental question. There are crooks everywhere in all these countries. But were their political process disrupted by the military? Nobody can answer that question. When you now begin to calculate the damage, and it's largely psychological as much as political, because by now, this country has some of the most sophisticated, intellectually sound politicians. You can't get better than a Sami Koku. You can't get better than an Awolowo. You can't get better than a Nnamdi Azikiwe. You can't get better than some of these incredibly crack brains who passionately love this country and had an idea about how to fix a country. Many of them were trained in that regard. Can you imagine the consistency in training and mentoring? My friend, what's his name? What's his name now? The former Minister of Labour, the former Governor of Anambra. Chris Ngige. Chris Ngige said something one day. He said that, look, that when they were growing up as young politicians with aspiration, they were always struggling about who will carry
Ekweme's
back. And Ekweme's blessings passed on to him. And so on. It is hopeful that his blessings. That system was disrupted. Even can you imagine, had we stopped at Ekweme in 79 and had the military not come back in 1983, the Igbos would not be talking today about wanting a president because the dynamics would have produced something different. So what I'm saying is that this incalculable damage was done because of the nature of what the military is. And for me, as I say, it's not, there can't be a good or a bad coup. But maybe I shouldn't say so, but in measurable terms, from the point of view of democracy, every time, how do you explain the fact that from 1914 till today, we have still not settled the issue of a constitution? Why? Why are we debating a constitution for how many years now? Because every time the military came, it meant for almost 30 years our constitution was in suspended animation. The rule of men replaced the rule of law. Every time the military came, they suspended the constitution, they suspended the National Assembly. And in my book, Witness to Justice, I made a point of what I call the tribunalization of justice. That is that military tribunals became a substitute for the judiciary. And many judges were complicit by going to become chairman of tribunals. We are sitting here.
But your lordship,
So, hold on. So the point is not, we're comparing oranges and apples. Because for me, it's not a question of even the outcome. It is the decapitation of the institution. We would not be talking today about the quality of our bureaucracy. My brother, ask yourself, how long did Lee Kuan Yew stay as president? Lee Kuan Yew was president from 1968 or 69.
For a very long time.
For over 30 years. Even when he left, and he knew he wanted his son to take over, but his son was not ready. Another person he brought in, almost like Babangida and Shonekong, he brought the person, but he still maintained the position of what he invented, what he called mentor minister. They were conducting elections. He was winning elections. In the same way that Rwanda has been conducting elections, people are winning elections. But in all of these countries, the percentage of the population is about the population of many local governments in Nigeria. I'm saying that had the military not intervened, we could have made our mistakes. But we wouldn't have gone into a civil war. And we would not be nurturing the deep resentment and bitterness that many Igbo people cannot recover from. And the sentiments are legitimate. They are legitimate. When the queen came here, was it not Ojuku's vehicle that was borrowed to carry the queen? So if you ask yourself, where will the Igbos have been today? Let me put it that way. Where will the intellectuals have been today? Look at the kind of country that was being built at that time. Who was the vice chancellor of the University of Ibadan? He was an Igbo man.
But your lordship, are we going to continue talking about what we lost and not move forward? Or the civilians not taking charge?
No. See, you can talk about what you lost depending on the circumstances that you lost. If you lost 10 million naira in a gamble or in a bet from Bet Niger, you'll be too ashamed to tell your wife. But if you lost 10 million through the crookedness of your son or something, the hurt is different. So don't quantify the loss. We're not talking, because you see, people keep making this point, and I want us to subject it to the rigors of intellectualism that it deserves. That is, why are we where we are today? So don't tell me, because when the military left, there was a lot of debate. People, the slush funds, people of the military, they almost took over the banking business. So we're not talking, but I'm also telling you that there must be a reason. The reason why Obasanjo was a product of the military, not a product of the democratic process. The PDP was quickly put together to provide a Trojan horse for Obasanjo to move and become. We all know that. This is not democracy in the way and manner that we're talking about. How does it happen that every president in Nigeria has a track record of jumping from one party, because of the volatility in the system? So what I'm saying is that If we had maintained that strategy, let me tell you what would have happened in Nigeria. By now, politics would not be so corrosive. Leadership would have emerged, because just like the Ngiges can talk about the sense of validation from following Ekweme, there will be people who probably would have also been in office because of following Ngige. And that is how the trajectory, whether it's Macron in France, or whether all of these guys will tell you the handbags of those they were carrying before they got to where they are. In Nigeria, the coup culture floods our political process today. That's why elections are largely a coup. Because already the violence that our elections produces is largely tied to the violence, the culture of violence that was inserted into our politics through the military. And I'm saying, remember that in our constitution, the reason why the military exists and they are monopolizing violence, it is to protect us. But once those guns were turned on one another, you read the books.
But your lordship, the civilians, even if it's 2 years or 3 years that they have been in power, they are also not law abiding. No, they are not also respecting the constitution.
Again, why is that?
Even though they don't carry guns, they are doing so much damage as much as the soldiers.
Hold on. In political science, it's what is called political culture. And culture derives from endlessly repeating certain activities, so on and so forth. Culture in Yoruba land, for example, has told you how to greet a man that is older than you, how you respect. Many Yoruba people will do that without thinking. There are things that culture has taught us, and because you saw other people do it, and so on and so forth. What I'm saying, don't confuse the military. The civilian administration may even be more corrupt. And it is the case. But that's not the issue. The issue is, how do you have a say in who governs you? Because that's the basis of democracy. That's why it is called representative. So if the day nobody had a say in who became a head of state during, and most of them only had their names.
Your lordship, we still don't have a say in who becomes president. No, but we are saying that even today's politicians are more military. How do I say it? They are more military than the military.
That is a consequence. It's not a cause. And in causality, let me explain to you. I'm still saying, you understand? I'm still saying that there are certain things that follow you. We can focus on the tangibles, like corruption. And people say, you see, the bridges were built by the military, or some of the good roads we have today were built by the military. Oh God, that is not the issue. How do people remember Hitler today? How do they remember Hitler? Hitler left Germany with the best infrastructure until today. In fact, I went to Geneva, and I was at the UN place in Geneva. And the person who was taking me around said something very interesting. I don't know whether it is true, but he said that when they were building the headquarters with money from different countries, they said they assigned different budgets to different countries. But to punish Hitler, they asked them to build the toilets. But the guy who was taking me, and he was a white man, he said to me, of everything in this building has changed except the toilet because of the quality. So, secondly, why did we have to fight apartheid? Why? What for? After all, the infrastructure in South Africa today is diminishing because freedom has come to black people, as you know very well. If it is infrastructure, Nigerians are still shamelessly running to South Africa. They have investment there. Without apartheid, would we have had the investments? The critical ingredient in all this, my brother, is freedom. Freedom to choose foolishly, freedom to choose badly. Your father could have been the richest man in Igbo land. But it's a different matter. Could he have just brought a girl and say, I am your father, I will pay the dowry, here is your wife? You would naturally have said, Baba, I'm young, I'm old, I can choose for myself. What coups denied us? And I want you to understand that. So, because people are measuring the quantifiables, And they are not. The most important thing in democracy is the freedom it gives you. And it doesn't matter how you use that freedom. So I'm saying, and don't tell me, it's not about blaming the military or blaming, it's about even if a bunch of priests are taking over government illegally, it will not be right. So my criticism, and as I said, it's an intellectual exercise. Let's debate it. Don't, because people tend to want to cut me, hey, but we are being empowered, but the military is even doing. That's not the point. The point is that you lost your moral authority, your moral right to kill an armed robber if you yourself used a gun to get to power.
It's something that we need to talk and talk.
And the good thing, sorry, let me just end. The good news is that we've been on this road for over 20 years now. As evidence, even the military now realizes it has lost its appetite for power. Go back and read the books written, not my opinion, read the books written by the military themselves. Read what General Bameyi wrote. Read what General Irabo has just written. Read and take any of the books written by the retired people, and you will hear them say with much regret what damage their involvement in politics, how they lost their spirit. I was a member of the panel. And because of these colonels and lieutenant colonels who became governors, they are being in custody of so much power, meant that generals, because there was a dissonance. I remember being in Jos for an event, and then they told me, I went to the airport, they said the flight was cancelled. I was just about to leave when they said, somebody said to me, they heard that there are some generals who are in Jos, and that a plane will come. So I decided to sit down. Luckily, the general, there were people I knew. So I just sat down with them, we were chatting. And then all of a sudden, the governor came in. And the governor was, I think, a lieutenant colonel or a colonel. There is a seat there where the Nigerian flag is hanging and the military, whatever, was hanging. Where only the governor can sit. And here we were with all these big generals. They couldn't sit on that seat. And when the governor entered, all of them had to stand up. Generals, how do you explain that? It's like saying bishops are holding a meeting, for example, and then a priest comes in and all the bishops have to stand up. But these governors had to, that was for me one of the most powerful statements. Something was wrong. But these people had to stand up because the governor of the state.
Okay, my lord. How do we make progress?
We make progress.
The damage is done. How do we make progress?
I don't know whether to call it even a damage. Yes.
Yeah. So how do we grow? How do we make this democracy enduring?
The sign that we are growing is that, again, like I said, even the soldiers themselves have come to terms with the fact that military rule was a departure from where we ought to be going. We can't hold it against them. It's gone. But in our analysis of cause and effect, we must, without making excuses, acknowledge. Okay? If in the course of your study in secondary school, you fell down and you lost an eye, you might correlate that with your results. Okay? Your ability to, if you had had 2 eyes, your result would have been different. It doesn't change you, but you recognize that point. But the good news is that after this number of years, the military, we have not heard of an attempt, even an attempted coup. Nor have we heard about Nigerians asking the military to come. So even the fact that we are stumbling and fumbling and not doing elections well, and so we must wake up like Jesus Christ falling 3 times on the stations of the cross and continue the journey. So for me, the very fact that even the military has lost the appetite to want power, we've made some success. The very fact that Nigerians are still saying we will struggle is a plus. I end here. There's a couple, well, not a young couple, but they were rather illiterate. So the woman came to complain to me about a problem with her husband, as usual. So we sat down, we discussed the matter. So the husband said, okay, everything is forgiven, let them continue. So 1 month or so later, I saw the woman in the church. I said, Madam, how now? She's not a literate, I mean, a very literate person, but I will never forget what she said. I said, Madam, how now? He said, oh, fine. So how are things in the house? He said, Father, we are still in a state of no war, no peace. so it is that at least we haven't parted, but we are still working. So everything is a work in progress. And I want this.
So are you suggesting that Nigeria is at a stage of no war, no peace, no progress, no?
Exactly, but and the reason why there's no war, no peace is maybe the promises that both of them made to one another when I reconciled them. Maybe certain things have not fallen in place, but at least they are not fighting. They are still together. So, and I think this country, the president said we have turned the corner. Well, if you turn the corner, there's still a long way, but it just means that turning the corner gives you better visibility. I think the challenge that lies before us now is for the presidency, for Nigeria to organize the resources of this country in a way that does not turn us into governance, into a mere distribution agency. That the resources of this country can be more judiciously applied, especially as the president himself has accepted and admitted that we now have resources. So this crazy road to this coastal road they are talking about, I'm very happy about it. You know why? I've called Engineer Mahi not once, not twice, and I commend him. No, people are talking. My position is that even if they don't build the road, we will not see the money. They will still chop the money.
So let them build it.
So they might as well build it. And I'm convinced, let me tell you one thing. If by the grace of, if this government continues with that speed and we see railways and we see roads and we see infrastructure in Nigeria, let me tell you, 60% of the problems of Nigeria will literally subside once we see good road, we see railways, we see electricity, and we can take it for granted. Because look, 90% of the young, energetic Nigerians, exceptionally brilliant group of young people, they're not looking for government jobs. So many of these kids, my nephew, he lives in this town. When he graduated, he came to me and said, Uncle, don't worry, just leave me. I'm not looking for a job. And he represents millions of young people who just want a decent space to express themselves.
A conducive environment.
Oh, absolutely. My niece who just left, before I came down here, what is she coming to tell me? She's not even talking, she's graduating this year. Next month. But she's telling me, because she kept saying, I want to come and see your uncle. I said, okay, come. So I gave her an appointment. Interestingly, she's telling me about things she wants to do, none of which includes looking for a job from government. She's not saying to me, oh, use your influence to find me a job. I want to work in Central Bank. I want to work. She just says to me, it's what I want to do. She's already clear in her, and she represents millions of young people.
Your Lordship, time is never enough when we talk. And today is one of those days. I wish we will have more time and more time to talk. But very soon, you're going to be retiring as bishop. You're getting quite older and older.
Absolutely.
So are you thinking about? Are you thinking about retirement when it comes? Well, because I know you're one person who is already thinking about it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm going. If we follow the Catholic Church's calendar, in 2 years' time or a year and something, I'll be 75. If God spares my life, I will let the Holy Father know. I've done my own little best. Now it's time for somebody else to, and it will be left for the authorities to decide. But I can tell you that my other life will only just get started. So I have all kinds of things I want to do, including, I might actually put even more challenging, because the dreams and the vision I have for the Coca Center, I want this center to be, in not too distant future, a place of ideas, a place with enough impact for Nigeria, and for Africa. Because I know, we blame the politicians, we blame the civil service, and there's a lot of bad things going on. But I always pay attention to some of those men and women who are breaking their back and doing extraordinary job. We blame the police, we blame the military, but we never forget that these guys are busy out of love for this country, struggling to do good. So my hope is that when I finally am no longer bishop, I will still remain of service to the church, because I was still, retirement doesn't mean you still remain a member of the conference. But by the grace of God, if I'm healthy, still strong enough, I've set my eyes to greater things. And hopefully, that's why, like I said, this place, I hope that one can be a source of inspiration and encouragement, especially to my constituency, the church. Because we are producing some of the most intellectually exciting young people. My son, their younger brother, that is an example. So my interest will be to create more spaces, open up more spaces, facilitate those young people occupying the space. In that way, we can have almost like a bit of a seamless transition. So for me, I'm looking forward, but also hoping, as I said, that one is
an active retirement.
Active retirement, absolutely. God gives us everything.
And just to remind you that we have a place for your Signature TV.
All right. I mean, I'll take any offer, because now if I'm in retirement, everything now that happens, you have to pay. You know, because Sokoto will no longer
just a little gift to thank you for giving us all this time. Really nothing much. You don't need to open it.
I need the audience. I need the audience to see. So when they see my beautiful pen, they will know that. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And please keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Look, it's people like you and this effort that we take for granted in Nigeria. These are the things that inspire me, because so many of you young people are doing extraordinary things. It's just a question of building the confidence and bringing all of this together.
Thank you, Your Lordship. I've been speaking with...
Thank you, cameraman. Thank you very much.
I've been speaking with Bishop Matthew Kuka. Sometimes I don't want to limit him with his diocese. He is a citizen of Nigeria and a citizen of the world. Thank you for watching. I'm Vin Martin Obiorailu from Abuja, Nigeria. Let's do this again sometime soon.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Health is more than a diagnosis. It's your lifestyle, your choices, and your future. Join us on Inside Health, your weekly deep dive into the stories, science, and solutions shaping your well-being. From expert interviews to real-life journeys of healing and hope, we cover it all.
One of the complications of cancer management or treatment is they have some of them at one point in time, you see them having anemia. Okay, so you see them at times being transfused. But at the same time, you come in with a diet.
Nutrition, mental health, innovations in medicine, fitness, and everyday wellness. Whether you're managing a condition, staying informed, or just living your best life, Inside Health is your trusted guide.
I'm Tigiti Agorom, and I'll be with you every week on Inside Health, only on Signature TV.
Signature TV News.
Welcome to Global News on Signature TV. I am Barry Kumo Ado. In the headlines, federal government bars ministries from awarding unfunded contracts. Ojikalu tells Tinubu to heed the advice of Catholic bishops. Oil prices fall nearly 5% after US announces new Iran talks. And Iran executes 2 men convicted of spying for Israel. Details in a moment.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signaturetv. News in your pocket.
The federal government has barred ministries, departments and agencies from awarding contracts or entering into any financial commitments without first securing the required budgetary approval and cash backing. The directive, which is contained in a Federal Treasury circular and signed by the Accountant General of the Federation, Samsudeen Ogunjimi, said the move is aimed at tightening fiscal discipline and enforcing compliance with procurement laws. The circular, which was addressed to key government officials, including ministers, permanent secretaries, heads of extra-ministerial departments and agencies, accounting officers, and federal pay officers, as fresh operational guidelines became necessary following widespread violations of the Public Procurement Act 2007 and other financial regulations governing public expenditure. A key provision of the circular stipulates that no MDA can issue letters of award, sign contracts, or incur financial obligations without first obtaining a warrant or authority to incur expenditure. The Office of the Accountant General also directed MDAs to download and attach copies of warrants or AIEs generated through the Government Integrated Financial Management Information System as evidence that funds are available before contracts are awarded or payments are processed. Circular further warned that financial commitments, including purchase invoices and employee payables, must not exceed the value of available warrants. A self-acclaimed Director General of the controversial Presidential Foreign Investment Promotion Council, Adeniyi Adeyemi, has denied that allegation that he single-handedly created the disputed agency, alleging that several ministries, departments and agencies of the federal government processed, recognized and interacted with the council. Adeyemi, who is currently in police custody, made the claims in a statement issued by his legal defense team and signed by Festus Ayibe, while demanding to appear before the House of Representatives had a committee investigating the council. The legal team argued that the client should be allowed to testify before the committee chaired by Yusuf Bagidi, warning that any report produced without hearing from him will violate his constitutional right to a fair hearing. Adeyemi's lawyers rejected what they described as attempts to portray their client as an isolated mastermind imposter who fabricated a government agency without institutional backing, noting that the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation acknowledged documents relating to the Council and facilitated office allocation within the Federal Secretariat. They further claimed that heads of security agencies attended programs organized by the Council, while the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission allocated a property to it, requested a processing fee, and presented a plaque of recognition to its leadership. The defense maintained that Adeyemi was being made a scapegoat to cover up deep-seated institutional lapses, procedural breakdowns, and internal approvals within the government structure, and called for a broader investigation involving civil society, legal experts, and independent observers to audit what it described as a complete paper trail across all ministries, departments, and agencies connected with the Council. Several heads of agencies appeared before the House of Representatives Committee, among them the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Didi Walton-Jack, who admitted that her office failed to carry out adequate due diligence before approving recruitment requests linked to the Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council. The Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria has clarified that no fire outbreak occurred at Terminal 2 of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, contrary to initial concerns that prompted an emergency response on Sunday. In an updated statement issued on Sunday, FAN said preliminary findings showed that the smoke observed within the terminal was caused by the discharge of facility's FM200 fire suppression system and not by a fire incident. According to the authority, investigations are ongoing to determine what triggered the activation of the system. The authority had earlier announced an incident at Terminal 2
and deployed its aerodrome rescue and firefighting service to the scene as a precautionary measure, but emergency protocols were activated. FAN also confirmed that no casualties or injuries were recorded and that normal operations have resumed at the terminal, with passengers being processed and flight activities continuing as scheduled. It thanked passengers, airlines, airport users, and other stakeholders for their understanding and cooperation, reiterating its commitment to ensuring the safety and security of airport operations. The federal government has empowered 18 rescued Chibok girls with cash grants and vocational starter packs to promote self-reliance and economic independence. The support was presented during the graduation ceremony of the Girls Support Program in Yola, Adamawa State. Minister of Women Affairs Imam Sulaiman Ibrahim said the initiative demonstrated that empowerment was an investment in people rather than an act of charity. She disclosed that 12 rescued Chibok girls graduated from the American University of Nigeria, Yola, in May 2026, while another 18 completed vocational and entrepreneurship training, with 33 others enrolling for technical and vocational education and training. Adamawa State Commissioner for Women Affairs, Naiduk Joffrey, described the ceremony as a symbol of resilience and hope. She said many of the rescued girls were emerging as entrepreneurs and professionals making meaningful contributions to their communities. Adamawa State Coordinator of a Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, Mustafa Ghana, said vocational education remained a viable pathway to entrepreneurship, innovation, and sustainable livelihoods. It described the initiative as a symbol of restoration and renewed hope. Several residents have been reportedly kidnapped, while an army officer and a policeman were confirmed killed in a Kasuwa Daji village of Kara Namoda local government area in Zamfara State. An eyewitness, Musa Garba, discloses that the incident occurred on Sunday at about 1:40 a.m. and that more than 70 people were abducted. Garba said the bandits, who are in large numbers, invaded the village in the early hours of Sunday, where they abducted the villagers after killing 2 security operatives and an unidentified number of residents. Garba explained that efforts were made by the military operatives stationed in the area, collaboration with police personnel and local vigilantes to foil the attack at its early stage, but they were overwhelmed because of a large number of bandits. Reacting to the development in a press release, the Acting Deputy Director, Army Public Relations 8th Division Nigerian Army, Lieutenant Colonel Olani Yoshoba, said the military had successfully forced the bandits to retreat into the forest, confirmed that the bandits had abducted an unspecified number of residents from the surrounding community during the attack. Olani said a successful defense by the military resulted in heavy casualties for the bandits, forcing them to retreat in disarray, which led to the rescue of 9 abducted civilians. A senator representing Abia North in the National Assembly, Oji Uzokalo, has described the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria as a conscience of a country. He added that President Bola Tinubu should reflect on the recent concerns raised by the clerics, rather than view them through the prism of political criticism. Carlos spoke in a video posted on his Facebook page, reacting to last week's meeting between Tinubu and the leadership of the Catholic bishops at the State House in Abuja, and the subsequent public exchanges from the public, presidency, and devotees of the church since the visit. The Catholic bishops, led by Matthew Dagoso, met Tinubu at the presidential villa, where the bishops raised concern over worsening economic hardship, insecurity, and state of the nation. Tinubu defended his administration's economic reforms, said the economy is stabilizing and that the era of prolonged strikes by university lecturers had ended. The meeting later sparked public debate after John Onayeka, Archbishop Emeritus of Abuja, said on Arise Television that Tinubu was unhappy with the message delivered by the bishops, who told him that the country is bleeding and that worsening economic conditions were hurting poor people. Carlo, a former governor of Abia State, said the bishop's intervention was intended to help the government improve governance rather than undermine the president. Carlo acknowledged the economic difficulties facing Nigerians, but said the challenges were not solely the fault of the Tinubu administration. Prominent civil society organizations have called on the Independent National Electoral Commission to issue timely invitations and accreditations to the European Union Election Observation Mission and other reputable international and domestic monitoring groups ahead of Nigeria's 2027 general elections. A joint press statement issued at the weekend, Youths United for Good Governance and the Moses Okorie Development and Awareness Foundation commended the electoral body for its early preparations and sustained commitment to strengthen Nigeria's democratic framework through continuous reform. The statement acknowledged the Commission's ongoing engagement with key stakeholders and its introduction of innovative measures designed to enhance transparency and public confidence in the electoral process. Highlighting a partnership spanning more than 2 decades, the groups emphasized that the EUEOM remains one of Nigeria's most trusted international electoral partners, pointing out that independent assessments provided by the mission have consistently enriched public discourse, informed policy reforms, and fortified democratic institutions. Beyond bolstering electoral integrity, the organizations highlighted the substantial economic benefits that international observer missions bring to host communities through massive deployment of personnel that generate temporary employment for hundreds of Nigerians. With INEC having already initiated the engagement and accreditation process for the 2027 elections, the coalition expressed optimism that all qualified and credible observer missions will be extended formal invitations accordant with established guidelines. The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria has called for urgent tax harmonization, improved infrastructure, reliable energy supply, and predictable regulatory environment to strengthen the country's manufacturing sector. The appeal was made at the 41st Annual General Meeting of the ENUGU branch of MAN in Abeokuta, with the theme Building a Resilient Manufacturing Sector, Surmounting the Challenges of Fiscal and Regulatory Policies and Tariffs. Speaking at the event, MAN President Francis Meshoye said manufacturers had borne the brunt of the federal government's economic reforms over the past 3 years, resulting in rising production costs, declining investments, and mounting operational pressures. Meshoye identified predictable fiscal policies, smart regulation, affordable energy, improved infrastructure, access to single-digit interest loans, and protection against unfair imports as critical to repositioning the sector. He had governments at all levels to ensure taxes, levies, and tariffs remain predictable, while regulatory agencies should prioritize industrial growth instead of revenue generation. According to him, MAN has secured concessions and safety audit fees and facilitated engagement in water abstraction charges and environmental compliance, but stressed that multiple taxation and poor industrial roads still require urgent attention. He also called for improved access to finance, energy, and foreign exchange, urging the federal government to clarify an implementation of the 2025 tax laws, oppose retroactive taxation, and direct the Central Bank of Nigeria to settle outstanding foreign exchange forward obligations owed to manufacturers. Still to come, Morocco says 11 died in Signaturetv crossing after Spain put total at 72. Wildfires razed neighborhoods in the U.S. Stay with us.
Signaturetv, news in your pocket.
And Spain have offered different death tolls from the recent mass crossing in Ceuta, with reports indicating that many migrants died. On Sunday, Miguel Angel Perez, the Spanish government representative in Ceuta, said the death toll had risen to at least 72, just a day after Fernando Grande Marlaska, Spanish Interior Minister, said at least 67 people had died while attempting the crossing. Perez added that in addition to the 72 fatalities, more than 1,000 people had received treatment from health services since Thursday. Moroccan authorities countered the figures, with the North African Interior Ministry said that only 11 people died trying to reach the Spanish enclave. According to Rabat, 10 of the victims drowned while an 11th person fell from a rocky area. Reports said that the mass crossings were driven to migrate by economic hardship and fueled rumors circulated on social media. Ceuta is one of the European Union's only two land borders with Africa. A mass migration triggered alarm across Europe, prompting EU member states to heighten border security. A two-man crew of a firefighting helicopter in Greece was killed in a mid-air collision with another chopper on Sunday, as both aircraft were deployed to battle a wildfire near Athens. State broadcaster ERT had earlier reported that one crew member had been found safe, while rescuers were searching for the second. Television footage showed one of the helicopters explode and plunge to the ground in flames after an apparent rotor collision. The fire department disclosed that nearly 500 firefighters were battling blazes around the popular coastal village of Porto Gameno, 70 kilometers northwest of Athens. They were attempting to keep the fire from approaching the western outskirts of Athens after it scaled a mountain overnight. Some 100 firefighters were fighting another blaze in Agialia in the northern Peloponnese. A new fire broke out late Saturday on the Leonian Sea island of Cephalonia, Greece's popular holiday destination. Meanwhile, firefighters worked to contain huge blades in northwestern U.S. city of Spokane early Monday after officials reported hundreds of structures had been reduced to ashes. Thousands of people were ordered to evacuate their homes over the weekend as three separate fires broke out in and around the city in the east of Washington state. National Weather Service had warned of extremely critical fire weather conditions in the area due to strong winds and exceptional dryness. Scores of homes were burned to the ground with only their brick fireplaces and foundations remaining, while other houses nearby escaped practically unscathed. Mayor Lisa Brown told a press briefing Sunday afternoon that hundreds of homes and structures have been lost and the authorities are still assessing the potential for lives to be lost. Fire officials said late Sunday that the blazes were still 0% contained. The Regional Clear Air Agency said on Monday that smoke accumulating over the city will likely render air quality very unhealthy on Monday. Sheriff John Nowell said no deaths or injuries had so far been reported. Because of the scale of this and what it takes to do those things of investigation and an active fire scene that could change. Washington Governor Bob Ferguson, who declared a state of emergency, said the state is enduring a fourth consecutive year of drought as climate change creates conditions conducive to destructive wildfires. Oil prices tumbled on Monday in early Asia trade after U.S. President Donald Trump announced fresh talks with Iran to end the Middle East war and reopen the Straits of Hormuz. The war, which began in late February when the United States and Israel attacked Iran, has caused oil prices to swing sharply as it effectively closed the waterway, a vital route for global oil and gas supplies. The price of a barrel of Brent North Sea, the Brent international oil contract for September delivery, was down 4.69% at $83.81. Its American equivalent, West Texas Intermediate, fell 4.67% to $80.72. Trump said on Sunday that fresh negotiations with Iran will begin on Monday after holding off on major strikes against the Islamic Republic to pursue a deal. Hours after the U.S. had called off major strikes in Iran, Iran on Sunday said it was nearing a deal with Oman over a new route through the Straits of Hormuz. Iran on Monday executed two men convicted of spying for Israel, which is the latest in a wave of hangings of alleged espionage. Since the start of the war with Israel and the United States in February, Iran has ramped up executions with many of the convicts accused of spying for Israeli intelligence. A media outlet for Iran's judiciary, Mizan, said that Omid Behzad and Portria Saftvat were hanged Monday morning for transmitting the coordinates of sensitive military and security sites to Mossad agents. It did not specify when the pair were arrested or when they went on trial, or said they were convicted of espionage and collaboration with the Zionist regime. Iran is the world's second most prolific executioner after China, according to rights groups including Amnesty International. Authorities executed at least 1,639 people last year, a record high since 1989, according to Iran Human Rights, an NGO based in Norway, and Together Against the Death Penalty, which is headquartered in Paris. On Tuesday, Amnesty announced what it said was escalation in executions after Iran announced the hanging of 2 men found guilty of taking part in anti-government protests during the winter. Sports. Team Nigeria entered the 2026 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, Scotland as one of the competition's top-performing nations, finishing 7th on the final medals table with 24 medals. Nigeria claimed 10 gold, 7 silver and 7 bronze medals, emerging as the highest-ranked African nation at the Games, secured a place among the top 10 countries overall. Final standings were confirmed at the official X handle of the Glasgow 2026 Commonwealth Games at the close of competition on Sunday evening. Esther Mogu gave Nigeria its first gold medal with a commanding performance in the women's lightweight power lifting event. Other Nigerian athletes who made the country proud are Ezekiel Nathaniel, who won a gold medal in the men's 400 meters hurdles, Goodness Nwachukwu smashing her own world record in the women's F42 discus throw to win gold, Idris Rulwano, who won the gold medal in the men's power lifting event, and Chukwuebuka Inekwechi, who made history in the men's shot put. Sadly, Toby Amusa battled injury to secure a bronze medal in the women's 100 hurdles. Australia topped the medals table with 171 medals, comprising 70 gold, 45 silver, and 56 bronze. England finished second with 110 medals, 29 gold, 45 silver, and 36 bronze, while Canada placed third with 62 medals, with India and host Scotland completing the top 5 with 39 medals each. And that's it on the news. I am Barry Kumo Ado. Thank you very much for watching.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.